one of the key ones is definitely boundaries. Gen Zs are very, like, we know what we want and we want to stand for what we want. When it comes to like HR and how we're treated in the office, is that there's just that grace that's given in times that are not convenient for the company. Because many times it's about the convenience of the company. But you know, like looking at the individual as well, there's so many things that could affect us, even if it's not just about the company, but like other things outside of life that could really impact us. And one thing that I have also learned is that the experience that you have in a company, especially what it does to your mental well-being, it affects you wherever you go from there. I know that, you know, we've been raised different, we've come from different backgrounds and different parents raised us, but just understand where we're coming from before you react. Like if you need time to think about it, but we just want to we want to know that we're being understood.
Hello everyone, my name is JEMMIE, and I'm happy to just say thank you so much for joining us in this channel, ACING Life with JEMMIE. If you feel this is a blessing to you, I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so that whenever we upload, you are able to watch and enjoy. With me here, I have my guest today, a very special guest, and we are going to share just a subject that is running on people's mind lately. So welcome, Fumi Akinyemi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So perhaps maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
So my name is Fumi, and I am an author. I also work in CX and CRM. I'm very excited to be here. I've been doing a lot of these interviews just talking about Gen Zs and corporate. And yeah, it's very exciting to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I knew Fumi through the dad, that is Dr. Wale Akinyemi, who has also been a very instrumental part of my career in terms of the human resource management and strategies and all that. So it's good to also have the junior here. Yes, to also help us with this. And of course, we are going to talk about Gen Z. And maybe the first up, I'll give it to her because I know she's written a book, which she'll also talk about it. But just before that, I would just want to ask her one question, because the book is How to Crack the Gen Z Code and what inspired you to write it. So I'll give it up to you that.
Awesome. So I think, you know, I'm one of those people who immediately after university, I stepped right into work. I didn't really have any gap or like years to wait before entering the corporate world. So from the moment that I stepped into the corporate world, I just noticed that with Gen Zs, there's a lot of friction, a lot of misunderstanding, and I think just a lot of bridges that could be built. And so I wanted to create something that would help us sort of bridge those gaps and improve communication in the workplace across generations. So that was my biggest inspiration, honestly, to write the book. And I felt like it would also be something good for me to look back on, because a lot of what I talk about in this book is based on things I went through in the work world, especially like early years. It's still early years for me, but it captures a lot of my experience. So I really wanted to put that into writing and to help someone else, whether it's a leader or another Gen Z like me.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to learn more about Gen Z, because for me personally, I know in my workplace, I deal with most of them. Actually, I think it's more like 65%.
Wow.
And you see, it's important that we understand them.
Yeah.
And one thing I just learned, because I know recently, just 2 weeks ago, I had one in my office coming to ask me for something. And then there's something she told me, do you know something about the Gen Z? They said, okay, what is it? You know, when you're coming to look for a job, you had your mother in mind, you had your siblings, and you maybe your community in mind. For me, the day I came for my interview, now you know they're telling me on my face.
Yeah.
For me, it's about experience. I am looking for experience.
Yeah.
To move out. In fact, they tell you on your
Yeah.
face. You know, to move out and go and look for jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
And how I appreciate them is that I wish I could say things the way they are saying. Because now as we are controlled, the millennials, they are really controlled. Like you're
Yeah.
not supposed to answer back. You're not supposed to ask questions.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
supposed to say yes. And it's very important even for leaders to understand how to handle the Gen Zs, because
Yeah.
then you'll have frictions most of the time.
Yeah.
Because you feel that how you are treated, how you are led is how they're supposed to be led.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But for you, it's all the same. So
No.
I think really, really, it's interesting to really understand and to know how to deal with the Gen Zs at workplace, right?
Yeah.
So now let me ask, who are the primary audience for this book?
I would say everyone aside from Gen Zs in the corporate world, because it's really from a Gen Z's perspective. I know that there's actually a lot of Gen Zs that have gotten the book and are enjoying it. I think for them, it's more like a lot of things we've been feeling finally put into words, things you could probably not explain before. But really, it's for other generations, people in the workplace, to understand how we are, who we are, and so we can work better together.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key themes in the book that you really want us to check? Because I know you'll talk about the book and you'll
Yeah.
tell them and all that. What is one of the theme there that you'd love us to just get some insights from?
Yeah. I think one of the key ones is definitely boundaries. Gen Zs are very, like, we know what we want and we want to stand for what we want. We don't want people to like push over or think that they can talk to us anyhow. I know it might sound funny, especially like from a HR perspective, but we're very particular about how things make us feel. And I think that's one very interesting thing about Gen Zs. We don't just look at like the outcome of things, but I might have a great job, paying me very well, but how does it make me feel? What are the boundaries that I'm having to sacrifice to be in this place? And I think that is a major theme in this book, just about how for us, it's not just about paycheck. It's not just about, you know, the lifestyle we live, but it's also the quality of our life. We care about having time to do other things outside of work. We care about our mental health. That's another thing that I talk about a lot in the book, just about how if it costs us our mental health, then it's too expensive, and how we really value just the mental implications of a lot of things that happen in the workplace. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned about mental health.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are some of these things that you'd like leaders at workplace to employ
Yeah.
so that then your mental wellness is taken care of? I know as a child, I know most of the strategies that you can use, but now coming
Yeah.
from you directly,
Yeah.
what are some of these things that you feel that the organizations or companies do not adhere to and they're very vital?
So when it comes to mental health, there's definitely a lot of things that I think are sometimes ignored in the workplace, especially when people deal with personal issues that have nothing to do with work. And unfortunately, sometimes it's almost like you should be able to, wear the many hats and like set that aside. But I think there's so much importance in being able to consider and understand that people go through different phases of life. And sometimes a phase of life can be so hard on someone, it affects their work. And so what I would say, I kind of hope when it comes to like HR and how we're treated in the office is that there's just that grace that's given in times that are not convenient for the company. Because many times it's about the convenience of the company. But like looking at the individual as well, there's so many things that could affect us, even if it's not just about the company, but like other things outside of life that could really impact us. And one thing that I have also learned is that the experience that you have in a company, especially what it does to your mental well-being, it affects you wherever you go from there.
Yeah.
And even though it might seem like, okay, I've changed my job, I'm out of that experience, how you were treated and just the things you were put through, they really do have an implication on how you behave moving forward. It's almost like some things will stick with you. You'll find that how you relate with your managers, it's almost like there's like a trauma response there,
Yeah.
and you're not really able to move forward and heal in that regard. So I would say from a HR perspective, I just wish that there could be a lot more grace in a lot of scenarios, and even just allowance for the unconventional. For example, if someone needs to work from home, like things are not in the best scenario, just giving grace where possible, just to allow people to move forward, to heal, to get through things in a way that they're still able to work, but on a personal level, like mentally able to heal as well.
Yeah. So what I've picked there is the grace.
Yeah.
Just more grace for them.
Yeah.
Because I also remember maybe at workplace where a Gen Z has just given birth to a child.
Yeah.
They don't understand so much.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a motherly care
Yeah.
in the office.
Yeah.
I know there are those who don't really buy into that you become a mother in the office. But I think working in the HR, it's a calling. In my experience, this is my 15th year of practicing as a HR practitioner. I think it's a calling because you go beyond what the role calls for. You become a mother sometimes, a counselor, or if just an advisor most of the time. And you find that most of the Gen Zs, they're even the ones who have given out child, they don't know how to balance work and family. You see, they don't know how to balance work and family. And that really calls for leaders to also understand that. You know, to treat the way we were treated in our days, whereby you have to figure out, but separate yourself from work and family. Separate your baby with the company. But you see, it's hand in hand. If you ask me, it's hand in hand. When you talked about trauma, that also reminds me. I remember there's a place I used to work, and there are issues that used to come in, and they are traumatizing me to date. I'm like, I can't work for that company again. You know, so there are things that we also need to deal with as millennials, by the way. We need just to open up and, go to a room and cry over and confess and make peace with everyone who are in our lives then. So that then you can be at peace with everyone. But I think I agree. More grace, more understanding, and just coming out of the norms of the rules. Because, some of the policies that we keep in our companies, most of them, sometimes you have to break them a bit to fit in better. Because you can be flexible to accommodate the situation and not of course necessarily meaning to break it. Not to break the rules, but just confining it around there, but ensuring that we are all comfortable. That is the employee and the employer. I think that's the grace you are talking about, let me ask you. Because even me, I can ask you right now, because I know you're just newly wedded. Actually, we are interfering with your honeymoon. We are interfering with the honeymoon right now. And perhaps maybe you can tell us just your experience with that, or rather you have the best of employer.
I think, honestly, one thing I will appreciate about where I work is it's a hybrid arrangement. So I don't have to be in the office every single day. And I think, honestly, like as Gen Zs, especially someone like me and my husband, like we're creative people. He's an entrepreneur. We always have so much going on. So the grace to like even just be able to sometimes, it's lunch break and you're able to get 5 other things done in that 1 hour. It's so helpful. And I think one thing I've learned, especially in this, early stages of marriage, is just the importance of being flexible. And that's one of the things that, hybrid work kind of allow for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's understandable. So it's a good idea. It's a good thing, and I understand it. And perhaps maybe you could also just advise on what we need to do as leaders. Bottom line, what we need to do as leaders for Gen Zs to fit in. Because for me, sometimes I see them reasoning in the office and I'm like, I wish I could be responding like that. For me, actually, they are my friends. They actually even interfere with my daily activities in the office. Someone's contract is due for signing, and then you call them, I want to take a video with you and I'm signing. I'm like, okay, fine, let's do it. I want to dance. Okay, let's do it. And then, and you see, when you actually, that's the secret to deal with Gen Zs. Listen to them. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. When you understand, do more listening. They become the best people. Actually, for me, they're the ones who make my day in the office. So perhaps maybe you could tell us, if Gen Zs are employed, what do they come with? Because I know as an employer, you are employing, let's say, a social media executive. And that's what you expect. What more do we expect? What more should we expect? Yes.
I think with Gen Zs, one thing you will see is a lot of ideas. So many ideas. I think now as a leader, you just need to strike the balance between, let's not try to do too much at once, because there will always be a lot of ideas from Gen Zs. Another thing you can expect is questioning, which I think you've already touched on, but we ask questions. Like, if you want us to do a certain task in A, B, C, we want to know, why is it in this way? if why don't you want me to do it? B, C, A, if it will get us the same outcome. So there's definitely a lot of constructive challenging with Gen Zs. There's a lot of ideas and creativity that come with it. And I guess another thing about us is we're very, I would say, unconventional.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you might wonder, why would we want to do it in such a way? And you actually nailed it on the head, like just how you listen to understand and not to react.
Okay.
Because many times when people listen to us to respond, we catch on. And it's something that I don't think there's any Gen Z that will be fine with just like, why aren't you just understanding? Like,
Yeah.
I know that, you know, we've been raised different. We've come from different backgrounds and different parents raised us. But just understand where we're coming from before you react. Like if you need time to think about it, think about it. But we just want to we want to know that we're being understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the, maybe perhaps talk about the
Yeah.
cracking Gen Z code? I had my copy. Just talk about it a bit
Yeah.
and just tell us what are some of the key takeaways
Yeah.
from this book.
Yeah.
And then also where they can find it from.
Okay.
Yes. And then from there you can pick it again.
Yeah. So this book, Cracking the Gen Z Code, it basically explores why we work, think, and communicate differently and how to adapt. And that's why I said it's really for, you know, the other generations. It touches on a lot of things. I just want to go through some of the key things in the table of contents that I really talk about. So it starts off with just establishing who are the Gen Z, why are we the way we are, what was going on at the time when we were growing up, because the different things that were happening around the world when we were growing up really shaped how we think today and how we are today. It also talks about, now we move on into like how we like to work. So what is meaningful work for us? Is it just about the paycheck? Like what for us is valuable in the workplace?
Yeah.
And then we move on to talk about misconceptions and myths about Gen Zs.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. You know, we're lazy, we're entitled. You know, we'll talk about all of that, and then how to speak to us. So, you know, how we like to be spoken to and how we also like to speak to other people.
Yes.
We talk about that, speaking visually, all of that. And then inclusivity in the workplace. Inclusivity is one of those big things that I guess a lot of companies might not understand, like why we're so particular about it. But for us, we grew up in a global village where we're playing video games with friends in China and the US. Like we have grown up in that digital global village. And so inclusivity is such a big thing for us. And then mastering upwards. So like this chapter actually, it speaks to both the Gen Z and the leaders who we work with, just how to deal with other generations. If you're a Gen Z and maybe you're struggling with the people that you're working with, the leaders who are in different generations, and there's like, you know, clashes in communication, it sort of establishes like, how do you master upwards, talk to your leaders, deal with your leaders, and also like manage your manager in some sense. Like,
Yes.
how do you deal with them in a way that there's just understanding? And then we talk about Gen Zs in leadership positions. So just how we lead, how we see leadership, what leadership is for us. We then move out to, honestly, now everything to do with the mental well-being in the office, what being out of office means for us. Yeah, and then why inclusion matters, the future of work for us, building a Gen Z friendly workplace. I think that's one of my favorite chapters, just understanding what you can do to make your workplace friendly for Gen Zs. Yeah, and then side hustles. There's actually so much side hustles, which is such a big thing for Gen Zs. We love to have financial freedom outside of just the 9 to 5. So why we're like that and how you can adapt and work with Gen Zs who are big on the side hustle.
Yes.
And then we'll finish off with rethinking job qualifications. One thing you will see about a lot of Gen Zs is a lot of the core skills we have, it's not like we studied them in university. And so from a HR perspective especially, how can you give people a shot when they haven't gone through the conventional learning cycles? Yeah.
think that's interesting. I know I've read the Cracking the Gen Z Code.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people who actually purchased it. And my key takeaway, I think one of them was authenticity matters.
Yeah.
There's nothing that moves the Gen Zs as speaking the truth and saying how it's supposed to be said.
Yeah.
You don't, when it's black, just face it and say it's black. Guys, this is how it's supposed to be. This is a situation and this is what we have to do. Never sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
That one, that's something, a takeaway I've done. And then all I've taken away from the book. The other key takeaway is engagement. Engagement is also key.
Yeah.
You have to engage them at whatever level, whether it
Yeah.
is leadership, management,
Yes.
and you have to engage them and get feedback.
Yeah.
From there, you get the solutions. And what I've picked from there is the flexibility, which is
Yeah.
very essential.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked about it because there's also the side hustles, which
Yeah.
you cannot run away from.
Yeah.
But the only most important thing is that even as you deal with the Gen Zs, you have to ensure that their KPIs are well articulated,
Yes.
so that you don't blame them for anything. Their key performance indicators
Yeah.
must be very clear,
Very.
so that then when you're doing their side hustles, they have already completed what they need to do,
Yeah.
so that then now you don't loggerheads with them. So I think that's my takeaway. Actually, it's good. It's good for leaders to buy this book. Actually, I would encourage anyone to just understand it. And I know another one is coming soon.
Very soon.
Yeah. Now, I want you to advise, because I know your case will be different. Or rather, maybe you're exposed. I know some of these things, it's because of exposure that you land on them.
Yeah.
Without it, we can't even know this publication. And again, with a lot of humility, you may also have come from a privileged background, meaning that maybe your parents were able to expose you, were able to travel, and also to support you even financially. What advice would you give to just any other Gen Z who might not be privileged, whose parents are not even there, even orphans and all that? Where can they start? And how can you encourage even those who are even in your situation or the opposite to also succeed?
Amazing. One quote that, like, growing up, that I was always told by my parents was benchmark your imagination. And it's one of those things that I think I carried with me for all these years, because it got me to a place where I realized, regardless of what they might have and what life they've given me, I need to have a vision for myself. I need to have a vision for my own life, where I want to see myself, which is honestly very different from even like the environment they raised me in. When I'm raising my own children, it would be very different. Like I want different for them. And my encouragement, honestly, to a lot of other Gen Zs would be, as much as you might be in a position that's comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable in the comfort. Because once you get comfortable in the fact that you have everything going for you, there's no vision and there's not going to be room to grow and to create something for yourself. Also, I will say, in terms of writing the book, my family background, like, there's so many authors, there's so many books. My grandfather was a publisher. My mom was an editor in a publishing firm. My dad has over 16 books. He has so many books. So even when it came to writing this book, there was a lot of mentorship. And one thing I would advise any Gen Zs, whether you come from a privileged environment or not, is find someone who you would say is bigger than you, better than you, that can mentor you. Mentorship for me, regardless of my parents, has been such a big thing. Just always looking for people who, like, hey, can I have a coffee with you? I just want to learn from you. You have to be willing to learn, because if you're not willing to learn, there's just a level of growth you will not attain. And there's so many tools right now to make life easier, but also so many things that can give so many hacks. You know, there's AI. You can honestly sit down, like you said, you can sit down and tell AI what you want, and, you know, write a book. You can write a script. There's so much you can do with AI. But one thing you have to understand is AI will never be human at the end of the day. Like, we have the benefit of, we have intuition, we have just emotion. AI does not have emotion.
Yeah.
So there's so much power that we have from just being us. And so I would say, like, feed into that thing that makes you you. And then I will just end off with a quick story. So when I was 19, I'm also a makeup artist, and I used to teach makeup a lot more when I was 19, and, like, just in my earlier 20s, because I'm still in my 20s.
You're still in your 20s.
Yeah.
At the start. You're at the start of 20.
I'm at the start. But like
Yeah.
from like my late teenagehood, I started this initiative. It was called Transforming Lives Through Beauty, where I would get young girls from Madare, from slum areas, from just areas where like there was either, not so much opportunity for these women, and find girls who are passionate about beauty, passionate about makeup, and offer them classes that give them an international look at what is possible. And just honestly, like I taught over 600 women, which was such a big thing. And for me, one thing I learned even from the girls that would attend is you have to have a vision for yourself. So many of these girls, like there was a girl who she had come from being in a gang and now wanted to turn her life around through beauty. And what that taught me from her is that once you have a vision for yourself, once you know that you want more for yourself, anything is possible. She now has a business. She sells clothes. Like, so just seeing what is possible when you have a vision, regardless of where you come from. I spent a lot of my like teenage years engaging with people from slum areas, people who we were so different, but I saw myself in each of them, like the drive, the just wanting more for yourself. And so for me, that definitely taught me that it doesn't matter where you come from. If you really want something, it is possible. Yeah.
Wow, you are highly blessed, but you're going places. So I hope everyone has heard. You've got to craft your own imagination of life and then get your vision right and follow it to the latter. And something I normally say is that you are the creator of your own results. Like for you now, you see your results are coming, but you created them when and you took it step by step. And I'm proud of you. I mean, you've done so much, especially going to the slum areas and teaching the young girls and even women on how to adapt and just make a living. I think that's so great. You've done what the Lord wants us to do, by the way. The Lord wants us to improve life and to touch lives, So I think you've really done well. Yes. And do you have anything to tell the viewers, our audience
today? This has been beautiful. I think we've flowed well. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And thank you so much. She keeps time. Gen Zs, they mean time. They mean business. And I must say that I was the one who was late for this meeting today. And I have confessed and I've been forgiven. Yes. So anyway, so we want to thank you so much for also listening to us. If you find this is a blessing to you and the book here, the Cracking the Gen Z Code, it will be important for you to just buy and understand it. And perhaps you can tell us where they can find it?
Yes. So at the moment, it's available globally. Actually, it's on Amazon. So wherever you are, you can get the book. If I speak at any event, I always make sure my books are there as well. So by having me, you also have the book. But it's available globally on Amazon. And yeah.
Yes. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And may the good Lord bless you. And if you find that this is a blessing to you, this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and also the notification so that you are able to get our updates. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely moment. Remember to share, comment, like, love, circulate. Thank you very much.